President Trump was also at Fort Bragg, commemorating the 250th year of the U.S. Army. We have a clip. You guys are going to want to watch this. Let's roll it and then discuss.
We honor 250 years of valor and glory and triumph by the greatest fighting force ever to walk the face of the earth, the United States Army. For 2.5 centuries, our soldiers have marched into the raging fires of battle and obliterated America's enemies. There's never been anything like it. There's never been a force like this. And I rebuilt it. I gave you so much money for 4 years. It was crazy. And we just approved our largest budget for military operations, over $1 trillion. We've never even come close.
The energy was electric. You could feel it through the computer screen, just watching and listening to it. The energy was palpable. These folks love America, and they know that President Trump loves them. Unlike Joe Biden, right, who checked his watch as soldiers were coming home in caskets. Unlike Joe Biden, who oversaw the horrific, calamitous Afghanistan withdrawal, which is a stain on our nation and our nation's history, President Trump respects our military. He respects our men in uniform. He backs the blue. That is who President Trump is. And so to see him at Fort Bragg with these young men and women, just the energy was incredible. And when he hit the dance, when he hit the YMCA, the crowd went nuts. The crowd went crazy, okay? They were loving it. I loved watching it. I love seeing it. I love that he supports our troops. And I'm grateful for the people who've made sacrifices for us to sit here and do what we do and have the First Amendment in this country and the Second Amendment and the United States Constitution. I would not want to live anywhere else but the United States. And it's because of the sacrifice of soldiers President Trump cares about. Something else President Trump announced while he was speaking at Fort Bragg is he wants to reinstate the name of these military installations that were changed the last few years, right? He wants to bring back Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk. I want to visit Fort Polk. Sounds like a good time. Fort Hill, Fort Robert E. Lee. We have a clip of this. Let's take a look and then talk.
For a little breaking news, we are also going to be restoring the names to Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee.
I am so happy about this because I am tired of capitulating to these folks on the left who are never happy. Can't we just honor our history? Can't we just have the names be names? Are you such little pansies and crybabies? You can't handle Fort Robert E. Lee or Fort Pickett or Fort Hood or Fort Polk, which, like I said, I'd like to visit Fort Polk. Sounds like a good time. You can't handle it. So these little crybaby bitches on the left, they want to change the names of all of these military bases. I'm glad President Trump is restoring common sense and sanity. We don't have to do this ridiculousness. We shouldn't have to bend over backwards doing cartwheels for these people who are never happy anyway. So let's put the names back. Fort Robert E. Lee. Am I going to get struck by lightning for saying it out loud? No. But thank you, President Trump, for prioritizing our men in uniform. Thank you for going and speaking to them. I feel like showing up is 90% of the job. When you show up and you show that you care, it makes folks want to enlist, makes recruitment easier, and makes people want to serve and be a part of this great nation, the United States of America. So thank you, President Trump, for showing up. And the last thing I will say is this. I am very jealous of President Trump's team, and I'll tell you why. Every time they go to an event, whether it's Fort Bragg, whether it's the UFC fights, they are surrounded by hot, young men. Okay, President Trump's team, they go to Fort Bragg. The crowd is like thousands of ripped, young, strapping men cheering, full of masculinity and testosterone. They go to the UFC fights. There are shirtless, ripped men fighting in cages like gladiators. I would love to go to these events. I am very jealous. I don't feel bad for y'all. I know you're running on fumes and no sleep. I have no mercy and no sympathy for you because every event Trump goes to, they're hot men in uniform or they're hot guys in cages fighting at Dana White's UFC. I'm jealous. And then President Trump gets to go see Les Mis and go see a musical tonight. I am a little bit jealous. Okay, I'm a little bit envious of the hot men at every event, the musicals. He's got a parade coming up this weekend. This man is living his best life.